Welcome back to what we are provisionally calling LOUV LINE. Look, eyes up here, eyes up here. Do not pay attention to this. We're going to be talking about this. This is the from the Sydney Sweeney ad that is currently the latest incarnation of the goddess archetype breaking the internet for the next 15 minutes, after which I'm sure she will be summarily forgotten by everybody. We're also going to be talking about the 33rd degree, or rather, the mass shooting that very unfortunately happened yesterday in New York. Yes, I know I'm blocking the view. You can deal with it. Mysteriously enough, this individual committed suicide on the 33rd floor, a very occult and esoteric number, after committing his shooting. So what's going on with that? Was it a mistake? Was there significance? What is the number 33? Why is it important? We're going to be talking about that. And we are going to be talking about ways that they are controlling your mind. Indeed. There are all kinds of new technologies like nervous system manipulation by electromagnetic fields from monitors. So there's going to be lots of fuel for later schizo posting for anyone who likes to do that. We got all kinds of stuff queued up, so whoopsie daisy, boobs return. So let's get straight into it. So I am, of course, Jason Louv. I am doing these every day now, or 4 times a week. I am an author. I have written 8 books, including John Dee and the Empire of Angels. I teach magic at magick.me, my school for magic, meditation, and mysticism right here. Don't look at the electromagnetic manipulation. I don't do that. Of course I wouldn't do something like that. But magick.me, where I teach all the occult tools that you need to learn magic and meditation anywhere on your own timeline. You can tap into thousands of video lessons on the core teachings of the world's sacred traditions at magick.me, as seen on the Duncan Trussell Family Hour, Days Digital, Gaia, The Midnight Gospel, Netflix, Team Human, Vice, and Tetragrammaton with Rick Rubin. Go to magick.me, where you can supercharge your life with empowerment, clarity, and purpose. You can stream these lessons in HD to any device. You can binge. You can take bite-sized units one by one. You can build your skills, and ultimately, you can unleash your true self and become the person you were meant to be. Okay, let's get straight into our first topic. Oh, I keep making the boobs go away. Sorry. Let's get into our first topic, the mass shooter. So, as you probably saw, there was yet another mass shooting in America yesterday. This individual came from Las Vegas with an M4 rifle and decided to shoot up Times Square, including killing a bunch of cops. Fuck this guy. He drove all the way from Vegas to do it. Why would you do something like this? I mean, I know we're numb to it now because it happens all the time, but it's like your life is so fucked up that you have to pass it on to everyone around you. Yeah, I don't understand it. I don't understand it. It's like you can be a complete nobody in America. You can do nothing with your life. You can be a complete non-entity, but you know what? You can be world famous for half a second if you just shoot a bunch of people. So, yeah, fuck that guy. But, oh, most importantly, of course, he did then, like a little bitch, kill himself after killing a bunch of cops on the 33rd floor of a nearby building. Now, of course, having psychic powers and having merged with the internet, know very clearly that the internet is, these schizo posters of the internet are going to go crazy about this one. In fact, I think they already have been. So let me get out ahead of this one. So 33, what's the big deal with 33? Why is this a thing? There, that's not blocking the view too much, is it? So, of course, the 33 is the 33rd degree of Freemasonry, the highest degree of the Scottish Rite. Now, I must warn you in advance that, of course, and this is true, by the way, I am a 32nd degree Freemason, so whatever I tell you is probably suspect. I'm actually a multi-generational Freemason. This is my grandfather's 32nd degree ring. So make of that what you will. Here's the deal with the 33rd. The 33rd degree in Freemasonry doesn't mean that you run the world. It's basically a service award for serving a bunch of, cleaning the lodge, serving chicken dinners. It's a recognition to Freemasons that they've been an active part of the fraternity. Now, anyone who's joined the Masons, including probably quite a lot of the people who watch this channel, because I know, because you tell me, gets to find out really quick what the occult secrets of Masonry are. And they are basically the occult secrets of getting like a cheap $15 chicken dinner that is a reheated from Costco bulk food, and how to hang out with a bunch of octogenarians and talk about basically nothing. It's great. I highly recommend it for younger guys because it's a great way to meet your elders and learn life lessons that you will never, in a million years, learn from your peers or even people slightly older than you. Since your peers are probably too busy trying to gather cred on the internet instead of doing anything useful with their life. But hey, I'm just the same, aren't I? So here we are. It's the pot, kettle, etc. So why is 33, but 33 is a sacred number. Now, I want to point out, does this mean that this person was part of a, as I'm sure schizo posters will say, part of a Masonic ritual to, I don't know, do whatever, as I'm sure lots of people are intimating? No, because it was a mistake apparently. He went on the wrong elevator, ended up on the 33rd floor, and then just decided, fuck it, I'm pulling the plug. Again, like a coward. Face the consequences of your actions. So, but why is 33 a mystical number? Now, as we're going to talk about in the Sydney Sweeney segment, remember, eyes up here, there doesn't need to be intentionality in symbolism. In fact, there almost never is intentionality in symbolism. What happens is there is resonance in symbolism. So we can, just like good literary students, literary critics, we can look at mass culture as a text and look at the symbolic resonances emerging from them and comment on them, which is, of course, what we're going to be doing a lot of on this channel. You're going to get like an occult intel analysis of the news. Yes, you can go to other channels to find out about what happened, and you can hear people's takes, as Tim Dillon, who has also fled Austin because it's too hot for him. As Tim Dillon has pointed out, I can't remember what he pointed out. God damn it. Anyways, fail. Jason's getting older. Jason just had a senior moment. So, yes. So as these things emerge from the mass consciousness, we can see them as like Jungian archetypes. Oh, I remember. Tim Dillon had the hilarious point that we're like a take economy. We don't produce anything but takes anymore. And yes, that is what I'm doing here. Of course, I produce classes at magick.me as well. But we're a take economy. But you're getting more than takes here. You can get culture war takes anywhere you want all over the internet. We're going to dig into the occult symbolism and resonance behind mass events. None of this is coordinated necessarily, but it can be tapped into, and we can, of course, analyze things for occult resonance. So lots to talk about. So why is 33, skipping to the chase, why is 33 such a special number? Well, most importantly, it's the age that Christ was when he was crucified. Lucky Jesus. Man, you didn't have to deal with aging, decrepitude, mortgage payments, exes, divorces, watching the world that you thought you were a part of and were significant in pass you by and slowly crumble into Coranzonic chaos all around you. Yeah, so Jesus also skipped out a little early. Thank you, Ryan. You also are the breast. Thank you so much. I am going to be answering Q&A. We're going to have a couple Q&A sessions in this, by the way, since it's live. So please hop in with your super chats. Everything really helps. Of course, like, subscribe, hit the notifications bell. I see from the analytics that only like 20% of you are subscribed. So come on now. Let's make this a thing. Okay, but any super chats will take precedence, so if you really want to ask me a question or if you have a comment or anything like that, drop it in the super chat. All right, why else is 33 important? Well, we have the age of Jesus, but we also have, perhaps even more importantly, there are 33 vertebrae in the human spine. Now, of course, the spine is the center of the nervous system, the central nervous system, and shall we say, meditation on the spine and esoteric practices to raise energy through the spine, such as Kundalini Yoga, as it is vulgarly known by dumb hippies in the West, and Kriya Yoga, as it is correctly known by actual yogis in the East. This is a technology for raising the energy through the spine that all great occult adepts at one time or another have done. This is a critical part of real spiritual progress. So the 33 vertebrae and the age of Christ, obviously those are resonant. So of course we have a symbol there of complete spiritual enlightenment and mastery. The crucifixion, the awakening of the entire spine. Maybe the crucifix symbolizes the spine for all we know. Of course, good symbols. One thing that I always tell people, I've been telling people since my first book, is the one thing you never ever want to do in occult studies is make one-to-one one-to-one meanings of symbols. A symbol, if it's good, can mean 300 different things, and they can all be resonant at the same time. So there's no decoder ring for symbols. They interact with the unconscious. So 33 also is the number of years that King David ruled in Jerusalem. Manly P. Hall made a whole lot about 33. He was a 33rd degree Mason as well, but his was honorary. My 32nd is better than Manly P. Hall because I worked for it, and therefore I am better than Manly P. Hall. And you should listen to me more and buy my books because I'm cooler, and I'm funnier also, and I have a longer beard. Okay. Okay. So... Oh wait, maybe there are not 33 vertebrae in the spine. Is ChatGPT fooling me again? Possible. There are 33 vertebrae. Cafe Cedar Beer, you're trying to throw off my stream. You're trying to stumble a fool, trying to make me doubt. Don't do that. Jesus also performed 33 miracles according to some traditions. And Jacob had 33 children. There's even more. Astronomical connections. I'm going to stop looking at the chat. The sun moves approximately 33 degrees through the zodiac each month. That's pretty cool. I did not know that. Or actually I did, I forgot. Every 33 years, the lunar solar cycle realigns, aka the metonic cycle. It's an approximation. The 33rd parallel north has been noted for its concentration of ancient sacred sites, including important cities like Baghdad, Damascus, and Phoenix. Hang on a second. Have you ever been to Phoenix? ChatGPT, have you ever been to Phoenix? Please. Sacred city? No, not so much. Maybe if you want to, die of dehydration. Anyways, so this guy, is there esoteric significance to this? Not really, but there's resonance. This guy was apparently he had CTE. He had severe head injury and had left behind a note blaming his actions on CTE and blaming the NFL for causing his CTE. Even though he was never in the NFL, he wrote a one-page note saying, "Study my brain, please. I'm sorry." So probably nothing too occult here, although it is interesting that we have the 33 vertebrae that lead to the skull, and he had brain damage. So we're talking about the central nervous system in both cases. Interesting enough. Okay, so pretty cool stuff. Actually, well, my analysis. I am cool. This is not. All right, so let's get into. Before we get into our breast story of the day, let's take some audience questions. So you can jump in with questions. I'm going to answer 2 or 3 questions, particularly if they're related to the first segment. And you can super chat to make sure you get ahead of the line. I'm going to go look through the chat. Let's see. So again, this was the second attempt at a stream, so thank you for following me here. Let's see what people are saying. Can we count philosophical beard strokes? No. Let's see. Hi-Fi Samurai says, I do not believe you, bro. I read Morals and Dogma. Well, I have also read Morals and Dogma, and I've actually been a member of the organization. Morals and Dogma, this is an interesting topic. Morals and Dogma by Albert Pike is the manual of Scottish Rite Freemasonry. It was written in the 19th century, and it is a fascinating work of religious syncretism, much along the same lines as the later Golden Dawn and OTO and things like this, but much less on the practical side and much more on the philosophical side. You know, magic is not taught in the Scottish Rite, but what is taught is a system of philosophy for taking good men and making them better. And Albert Pike, of course, was involved with the Confederacy and was around in the 19th century, so just like all people, he was very imperfect. But usually, the thing that people make a big deal of in that book is the fact that he mentions Lucifer once. Now, does he? This is classic, because it's the same thing that people do with the Talmud, taken completely out of context. You know, they refer to Lucifer a few times in the book, but what is not mentioned by conspiracy theorists is that Lucifer used to just be another name for the planet Venus, and which is basically all he's talking about in the book. So there you go. I can assure you the Freemasons are not controlling the world. Frankly, I wish they were, because they're very polite and well-mannered, and the world would probably be a lot better. My evidence for that, all of the best U.S. presidents have been Freemasons. I recommend Freemasonry to all men of good character. Okay, let's see what else we got in the chat. Scottish Rite Booba. Yes, thank you again, Ryan. Okay, YouTube changing the subscribe name to meaning the paid subscriptions is so confusing. Well, I agree. So YouTube now has 2 buttons down there, join and subscribe, and I think subscribe is the free one and join is pay to support the channel, which please do. It is confusing. Oh, P.S. I'm going to put the link to the Discord in the chat. How could I forget? We have an active Discord, and I have been threatening again and again to release it. So here we go. Let me put it in the chat. Oh, it won't let me put it in the chat. Okay, wait. There we go. Okay. I have just put in the invite link for the Discord. It's a very thriving community because it's for magick.me in general. And there's all kinds of great conversations about magic, esotericism, the occult, yoga, meditation, everything. Join that Discord, and for people who are subscribers of the channel, depending on what tier you're at, you're going to get cool flair and access to exclusive channels where you can also hang out with other people like you who are better than other people who didn't pay. So that'll be lots of fun, and then you can collectively celebrate your superiority. But definitely join the Discord, get involved. Years of great conversations on there, and definitely support the channel. Okay. All right, and let's see, did I miss anything? Okay, yes. Don't be trying to throw me off with this 24 vertebrae thing. Human chat throwing me off. That goes to, that teaches me to trust humans instead of machines. Okay. Cafe Cedarbeard says 5 lumbar, 12 thoracic, 7 cervical. Where are the missing bones, inclusive of skull bones? I'll let you guys figure that one out on your own. I'm not a doctor. Okay, maybe it's parts of the skull. I don't know. Okay, yeah. Temple Rose, our lovely moderator, says Grok, Google Chat, and her biology book all disagree with this. Okay. Occultology, you super chatted yesterday. Okay, this is what okay, just fair warning, this chat has a delay, okay? Like, you're seeing this about 90 seconds or something after I'm recording it. The reason is so the reason is so that it doesn't, the stream doesn't crap out or fail to buffer. So that means if you ask me a super chat at the very end of the live stream, please don't be upset if I don't answer, because I'm not going to see it. So ask your super chat at the beginning. That said, we have a, let's see, where's the question? What do you think about Benjamin Rowe's Horus Set Aeon switch? Okay, interesting question, and then we will move on after this. First of all, I would have to thank, oh, and then John asks, can you tell me to stop being lazy? Stop being lazy, John. There, you can clip that and play it whenever you want. Yeah, don't do that. Okay, so Benjamin Rowe, I'm not an expert on. I actually don't know what he's talking about with the Aeon of Set and Horus. The Temple of Set has written quite a lot about Set. Set and Horus are both options, shall we say, in the present Aeon. And beyond that, I will not say more to a mass uninitiated audience. But super interesting stuff. Okay, let's move on. Remember, you can learn all of this stuff. Look at all this occult terminology that people are throwing out. Kundalini, Kriya, Benjamin Rowe, Enochian temples, Horus, Set, Aeons. You can see all of this at magick.me, don't forget. And, of course, magick.me courses are paid because they're fucking awesome, and it's my full-time job to make them, particularly the newest ones, which are the new versions of the Adept Initiative 1 and 2, are fucking awesome. They are the best occult courses on the planet, quite frankly, and I know I'm biased, but it's true. And they're there for people who are really serious, for people who want to take their commitment that seriously, who are that serious about practice. But of course, if you're just learning about this stuff, maybe that's not the first stop. We have free courses. Why Magic? Start here. Oh, Occultology says it was in the middle of the stream. Okay, well, my apologies, I missed it. We will pay close attention. Okay, Why Magic Start Here is free, and then also you can start with a completely free meditation. Oops, magick. Start.magick.me. This is free. And basically what this is a 10-minute auto-hypnosis meditation that will immediately boot you up into magical consciousness. You'll be visualizing yourself in a magical circle. You'll be visualizing your power awakening. There's chakra activations. There's dimensional hopping. It's wild. We spent a long time making this. So go check that out. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain. All right. Deep dive number 2. And now we come to what you've all been waiting for. Sydney Sweeney. So, as I'm sure many of you have seen, Sydney Sweeney, who I didn't know about until sometime mid-yesterday, has broken the internet. She is a model that is rather attractive, but has... Oh, thank you. Philip says, I bought Adept 1 and 2. It was very serious and awesome. Thank you very much. There you have it. So, I'm just going to show you the ad that people are freaking out about, and there's various reasons why they're doing it. Let's see, where's Sydney Sweeney? Sydney Sweeney. Okay, so check this out. Now, this is, okay, like this has been all over the internet, but for some reason it's not on YouTube, so you're going to have to deal with the TikTok version.
Genes are passed down from parents to offspring, often determining traits like hair color, personality, and even eye color. My genes are blue.
Sydney Sweeney has very genes.
I'm not here to tell you to buy American Eagle jeans. And I definitely won't say that they're the most comfortable jeans I've ever worn. Or that they make your butt look amazing. Why would I need to do that? But if you said that you want to buy the jeans, I'm not going to stop you. But just so we're clear, this is not me telling you to buy American Eagle jeans.
Sydney Sweeney has very keen.
You see what I did there, right?
All right, so basically, this Sydney Sweeney person has made a jeans ad with butterflies and also has
Jeans are
also appeared with a butterfly on her parts. And half the internet is now screaming that this is Nazi propaganda, and the other is going wild because they think that this means the end of woke. But American Eagle is smart. I mean, American Eagle just got me to play 2 of their ads for free on my YouTube, which they've also gotten everyone on the internet to do because everyone's talking about this today. So well done, American Eagle. Their stock market, their stock price has apparently jumped 16%, and we're all talking about them. So what the hell is going on? What's up with this? Why is everyone so excitable? Well, the American Eagle, shall we say, just activated accidentally one of the most powerful archetypal combinations in the Western collective unconscious. The world collective unconscious, actually. The world collective unconscious. Humanity's collective unconscious. So let's take a look at here. Let's take a look at this here. We have a trinity of symbols being invoked by this ad. Number 1, the blonde goddess. So this isn't just about Sydney Sweeney, obviously. She is, like, nobody knows who Sydney Sweeney is. The thing here is she's embodying an archetype that goes back to Aphrodite, Marilyn Monroe. You take your pick. It seems like there's a new one every week. But, man, obviously cultural, it's cultural beauty standards are being invoked when you put a blonde, blue-eyed woman in an ad and saying that she has great genes. That's definitely going to raise some eyebrows. A lot is invoked there. We're talking about cultural beauty standards, cultural complexes about beauty, perfection, and who gets to be the ideal, and why is the ideal white, blonde, blue-eyed? Well, obviously that's going to set people off. The next is, of course, the word genes, which is where it gets even spicier, as they used a double entendre here for genes with a J, and G-E-N-E-S, which is definitely, genetics are not neutral at all in the collective unconscious. We have the shadow of eugenics, of groups of people deciding that they are superior to other groups based on traits that they did not earn or choose. And when you combine that with a specific beauty archetype, you're pretty much lighting a match next to cultural dynamite. But there's an even deeper one here, which I haven't seen anyone remark on, which you would think come on, schizo posters of the internet. Please, somebody tell me the schizo posters have seen this. The butterfly, okay? We're talking about Monarch MK Ultra. For those of you who don't know, Project Monarch was allegedly, well, it was a real thing. It was part of MK Ultra, which was real. You can look it up. The extent of what they did is, of course, unknown and debatable. But as has been alleged by conspiracy people, the Project Monarch was a mind control program designed to create compliant, kind of mind-controlled sex slaves, allegedly, basically, often to use in honeypot operations of the type that perhaps were going on Epstein Island, and although no connection has ever been made there. The butterfly is the symbol of Project Monarch, monarch butterfly. That's a monarch butterfly right there. It's not just any butterfly, it's a monarch butterfly. Was allegedly part of the hypnotic trigger to more or less turn people into a pliant sex kitten that could then be used to service, powerful people, foreign dignitaries, whatever it happens to be, or do operations for intelligence agencies, or what have you. So whether the people who put that monarch there knew that or not, because I'm not convinced that, you know, the people in, like, I've worked in advertising and I know all about this stuff. So it's quite possible that all the people who make the ads read the same schizo stuff on the internet, or maybe there's something more direct and sinister going on. But one way or another, one thing that this whole cultural fracas shows is the mechanism of shadow projection. And obviously Carl Jung would have a field day here. So let's look at the reactions to this. I don't really have any reaction to this other than the fact that I had to queue up this ad for you, and it played like 8 times, like, some say genes are passed down, genes are passed down, genes are... This is just, please, silence Sydney. That's my reaction. So, of course, people will look at this and they say they are that it is Nazi propaganda. So they themselves are projecting Western beauty standards on that by saying it's Nazi propaganda, and they are... of course, invoking the trauma of excluded others, of excluded groups of people, you know, the ideas of genetic superiority and other things that have been left into the dustbin of history, but that for some reason people have discovered in the last 10 years they can get momentary attention for spouting off about on the internet. There you have it. Hopefully, now once that taboo is gone, people will move on to the next thing, and hopefully that won't be worse, although my hopes are not up. So they, you know, these people people who are crying Nazis see blonde hair and the phrase "great genes," and their unconscious immediately goes to the darkest place that combination has taken us, which is, you know, somewhere in Eastern Europe in 1945, shall we say. On the other side, we have people saying this is anti-woke. It's over. Advertisers aren't pandering anymore and being woke. Now they can get back to showing this type of thing. They're projecting their own shadow too. So they, of course, have their own repressed desire for traditional beauty standards, shots fired, perhaps a repressed desire for hierarchy, more shots fired, and perhaps even more nostalgia for a time when those images were unquestioned. So these people who are excited about this, they want this Norman Rockwell, whatever this represents to people. It's like maybe part Norman Rockwell, but more like Farrah Fawcett 1970s poster idea of beauty. And if you're old enough to get that reference, my condolences, and I will see you in the senior citizens home. Yeah, these people are yearning for a return to the past. And of course, perhaps since she's you know, I guess in her early 20s or something, there's a longing for lost opportunity, lost innocence, and so forth. So what this is, but look at, so it's not just shadow projection, because on one side we have people saying this archetype needs to continue to be repressed and suppressed, and on the other side we have people saying, celebrating that this is an archetype that is now returned, that it was perhaps taboo and continues to be taboo as you see people's reaction in the culture, but now it's the return of the repressed, as Freud put it out. Freud very, very intelligently observed in his book Totem and Taboo, or possibly Civilization and Its Discontents, or possibly both of those off the top of my head, that if you repress anything, it will return 10 times harder. And that goes for symbols as well. And this is something that the Democratic Party never learned, to their own demise. So there you have it. What you repress does not go away. It simply grows in the earth and prepares for its time to return. So this archetypal image is so powerful that, just like I said at the beginning, it might mean something different to everyone, right? And this is how the occult works in advertising. It's not like they're trying to embed a subliminal message. It's more like they're poking on a deep cultural archetype that's already there. Goddess worship in culture goes back to tribal cultures. You can read about it in Sir James Fraser's Golden Bough, and so forth. And of course, those of you who have been around enough will see the next part coming. The oldest ritual for all cultures is to prop somebody like this up, usually very young, as an ideal of beauty, and then to symbolically destroy or tear them down. And if that's not happening now, I suspect it will be happening soon. Oh, Fred says that Sydney Sweeney is almost 30. Well, she's got good genes. What can I say? So there you go. And so this is how the occult actually works. And by tapping into this archetype, American Eagle has somehow, by their magic, gotten everyone to play their ad for free and their stock price to jump 16%. That is the power of tapping into unconscious archetypes. Okay, so that's our take on Sydney Sweeney for today. So let's we can make this go away so you can see more of her. Again, eyes here. Let's open up the floor for a live chat roulette. Again, super chats go to the top. I think we have some new ones. Tell me what you think about this. And also, let me know what you think. Is this a Nazi thing? Is this a far-right thing? Is this Nazi propaganda or not? Let me know. What do you think in the comments? All right, let's go back. Occultology, thank you very much, says, I used to do a podcast about the occult with someone who was your student. He egoed out on me when you didn't give him the Adept course for free. I think I know exactly who you're talking about. This is a person who went absolutely insane and went on a smear campaign for me, against me, because I had previously been selling courses for $49, and then I did one that was 10 times better and sold it for $4.97, and he somehow took this as a personal slight against him. So I think I know who you're talking about, and yes, issues. And I hope that he gets the help that he needs, because he was a very smart student. And I hope that he addresses his personal issues, which is a lesson to all of us. You can do all the magic and meditation and ritual you want. But if you don't heal your deeper issues, then you're just spiritual bypassing, and you're just putting new layers of paint over something that's going to break down eventually anyways. So I'm glad, hopefully you didn't take him that seriously, and I hope that he gets the help that he needs. Okay. X77, interesting. This is a very interesting comment. So yes, I will read your comment or question if it's a super chat or actually super interesting. Not that everyone's comment is not interesting, but I have limited time. X77 says we have to upgrade the esoteric beyond the inner solar system. That's interesting, and what I take from that is that the chakras are related to the 7 planets, but that only relates to the first 7 planets of the solar system, and we now know that we live in an infinite cosmos of spiral galaxies, black holes, nebulae, and universes upon universes, and dark matter, and perhaps multiverses, and God knows what. And so I think one of the points of one of the points of development for magic since the early 20th century, particularly with Crowley, is updating religion, updating it to match our most current cosmological understanding of the universe. Because all the old magic and astrology and all that is all based on a geocentric model. And here's a point of clarification as well. In the Middle Ages, when people were coming up with this stuff, from most widely practicing Hermeticism and all that, we have this idea that they thought the geocentric model was that the Earth was at the center of the solar system. That was not the model. The model was that the Earth was at the bottom of the solar system, and that the heavenly spheres were higher, and that of course, then that explains the idea of rising through the planes and raising yourself past, as in with the Kabbalah, raising yourself through progressive series of initiations as symbolized by the planets. Well, now we have a much, much bigger conception of the universe. So what does that mean? All right, we got another super chat. Marilyn Monroe went through this occult system. Sweet Norma Jean was turned into a sex icon and then destroyed. I just wrote a movie about this. Congratulations to you for writing a movie. Very, very good. Yeah, Jane Mansfield also was friends with Anton LaVey, so make of that what you will. Um, Interesting. Yeah, so you're basically saying that Marilyn Monroe was also a Project Monarch creation. Well, if Project Monarch was actually doing that, that would make sense, particularly as she was more or less a a handcrafted Monica Lewinsky for JFK, and was not. And it was Marilyn Monroe was a brilliant woman who was surrounded by people who were using her, and she made that very clear in some of her private diaries. It's a very tragic outcome for a very, very a sweet and genuine person, I think. Thank you very much, Frauder RC, for giving out 5 Magic.me gift memberships. Coming in strong. Frauder RC and Exploration Arcanum both regularly do this. Thank you very much. You should listen to both of their podcasts. So Hermetic Podcast for Frauder RC and Exploration Arcanum for the man of the same name. Both excellent podcasts, and I, of course, encourage everyone to foster a cult community that is positive, because you know what? We got a lot of enemies right now. We got a lot of like crazy Christians, we got a lot of crazy, Islamists. We got a lot of crazy people who think that we're all Satanists who are sacrificing babies. And this has happened before in history over and over and over again, whether it's the 1980s Satanic Panic or the Borborites, like being accused of things like this, or the Cathars. There was a whole crusade to wipe out occult. One of the crusades was specifically to murder occultists, the Cathars. Maybe they deserved it. I don't know. But we need to counter a lot of the, let's say, propaganda on TikTok, where people are putting out the worst possible version of people who are interested in the occult. I assure you, okay? Like, what is the occult meaning? Like, my friend Jason Exploration Arcanum just texted to me. It's like, sometimes I wish the occult was actually like what right-wing crazy Christians think it is. It would be more fun. It's like, yeah, what is the occult? It's like, we sit around reading Carl Jung books. I mean, that's basically it. So yeah, I encourage everyone. All right, let's see if we got any more questions. Did I miss anything? No, I don't think so. All right. Okay. So now let's encourage the schizo posters more, shall we? All right. So I pulled out, as some of you know, I used to work in advertising, and I did that specifically. I went to go work in the advertising industry specifically as a magical challenge for myself to see if I could embrace my opposite, because prior to that, I had been a purely anti-capitalist, ultra-lefty anarchist, Generation Hex, if anyone read that, all of that. And so I, as an experiment, I decided to become the people that I thought were in charge and my enemies. And it often turns out that you learn quite a lot that way. And I really did. And I learned, but the number one thing you learn when you do that, like I've hung out with cops, like all this stuff. The number one thing, military, the number one thing you learn when you do that is that everyone's a human being just like you, right? And they see the same shit on YouTube, and they're swimming in the same cultural landscape as you. They just have a different job than you. That's it, right? However, check this out. So, using the wonders of artificial intelligence, I have discovered 6 new techniques that the advertising industry is using to control your brain. Make sure I have this pulled up. And a lot of this I've never heard of. And that is completely wild. So number 1. Okay, so this segment, 6 technologies that are being used to control your mind by corporations and advertisers that you might not know about. In fact, you probably don't. Number 1, non-invasive brain stimulation to enhance hypnotizability. So there's a bunch that fall under this. We've got this nervous system manipulation by electromagnetic fields from monitors, like the one you're staring at right now. We've got this human brain cloud interface. Can we link our nervous system to the cloud? And then, of course, think about the possibilities for control, advertising, hypnosis, etc. Can LED technology be used for hypnosis and mind control? And yes, this is a New Age blog, but they cite their shit. There's a bunch of stuff here. Mind control using light, light-based brain manipulation techniques, flickering light, and brainwave entrainment, LED advertising effects, etc. So, long story short here, the most important story is that a Stanford affiliated research team recently demonstrated that low-level neurostimulation, for instance transcranial methods, can temporarily increase an individual's susceptibility to hypnosis. Interesting. This technique doesn't implant or control thoughts, it just makes people more receptive to suggestion, potentially amplifying hypnotic or persuasive ads delivered shortly afterward. Yet another reason that I hate cell phones. I really do. If you're watching this on a cell phone, go throw it in a lake and get a desktop computer, or at least a laptop, like a real person. Cell phones are probably the worst thing ever to happen to humanity. All right, next one. Let me make sure that I'm on the right ones. Okay. Hypnosis alters brain network patterns. So, new functional MRI and spectroscopy studies from Zurich, because Zurich doesn't sound suspicious at all. I'm sure nothing untoward ever happens in Zurich, Switzerland, in a completely anonymous country where nobody can see what you're up to. Seems legit. Definitely doesn't seem like a location in a James Bond movie. New functional MRI and spectroscopy studies from Zurich map how hypnotic states reorganize large-scale brain networks and alter neurochemical balances. Clear biological proof that hypnosis is a genuine, measurable brain state. Such findings offer insight into how ads or persuasion methods could induce or leverage these states in real environments. So there we go. We have a vicious feedback loop appearing. You can stimulate the brain through monitors to be more susceptible to hypnosis, but then when the hypnosis takes place, it also alters brain activity and neurochemistry. And if you study hypnosis, you find out that when the more people are hypnotized, the more susceptible they become to hypnosis. So again, throw your fucking phone in the lake. All right. That's a little sinister. I'm sure that will only be used for everyone's best interest, and just to sell you, things you need. Number 3, AI-based memorability prediction and reconstruction, aka MindMem. A breakthrough AI model called MindMem, which was created this year, integrates visual, auditory, and textual features to predict and even redesign advertisements for maximum memorability. A reported 74% increase in recall was achieved via AI-optimized ads. Well, this is, of course, obvious that people would do this. Though not mind control, it targets unconscious memory, encoding, and emotional resonance at scale. Are your thoughts, or were they put there? I hate encouraging schizo posters, but reality is what it is. Back when I was running the Ultra Culture blog, one of the guys writing for me, Stephen Folan, a great writer, discovered that the U.S. military actually has technology to beam voices into people's heads, which is, of course, the number one thing that schizophrenics complain of. If you spend any time around schizophrenics or reading their writing, you know that they all say that thoughts are being beamed into their head by either the CIA or aliens or, the guy who lives down the street or whatever it happens to be. Well, it turns out that's actually possible. So reassuring. So very reassuring. All right, neurobranding. Number 4, branding meets neuroscience. This emerging field goes beyond optimizing individual ads. Brands now use prolonged neuroimaging, biometric measures, and implicit association tests to integrate logos. You should watch yesterday's stream. Logos, storytelling, and packaging into deep emotional and memory circuits. This is about shaping identity and loyalty below awareness over time. Below awareness. All of these technologies can be used to shape what you think without you having any awareness of it. From all the way down to the less than need I remind you, nervous system manipulation by electromagnetic fields through monitors. But of course, I'm sure it will only be used for puppies and candy. 5, multi-model neuromarketing and IoE integration. Recent neuromarketing platforms fuse EEG, eye tracking, galvanic skin response, facial coding, even wearable sensors and ambient IoE devices, smart environments to gauge real-time engagement. AI fuses those data streams to shape targeted messages that align with moment-to-moment emotional states, essentially orchestrating unconscious persuasion using real-time biometric feedback loops. Damn. Yeah, they're cooking up some shit. They got people cooking for them over in that meth lab. They come up with this shit from in. Wild. So I'm sure everyone's had the experience where you were thinking about something and then you saw an ad for it. Again, on your phone, throw it in a lake, please. Run it over, put it in your driveway, back over it, claim that your neighbor did it, send him to jail, laugh. Yeah. So the question is, when you saw an ad for something you were thinking of, was it the ad that predicted your thought, or was the thought of the desire for the thought of the product put into your mind in the first place and then followed by an ad? In 2025, that's not a schizophrenic question to ask. It is a completely reasonable one. Are your thoughts your own thoughts? And then finally, virtual reality, AR, and AI enhanced hypnosis experiences. Though still emerging outside marketing per se, hypnosis and trance work are being embedded in VR and AR, so virtual reality and augmented reality environments paired with real-time neurofeedback and AI coaching. This combination is being explored therapeutically, but such tech could be co-opted in immersive ads or branded experiences to guide users into suggestible states where messaging becomes more psychologically powerful. Wow! So let's summarize. What have we got? We've got brain stimulation stimulation, which raises your receptivities to suggestion. We've got brain network mapping in hypnosis. We've got AI ad optimization for boosted recall and emotional resonance. We've got neurobranding for deep unconscious brand association. We've got multimodal neuromarketing for influencing your emotions on a second-to-second or showing you ads based on your emotions from a second-to-second basis. And then we've got VR, AR, and AI, which of course as time goes on will become more and more integrated to the environments around us. You'll be going to the mall and there will be AR displays up. For instance, you'll go to American Eagle perhaps and they'll have an AR Sydney Sweeney telling you all kinds of stuff to buy. So fascinating stuff, things to look out for. The extent to which people are able to influence us is perpetually amazing to me. Okay, and then of course, I'm sure that they are integrating all of that into influencer marketing. For all we know, they're having influencers do this stuff. Like, for instance, TikTok influencers using products without mentioning it. That's an ad. Perhaps they use some of these technologies, or social media accounts creating supposed content that is actually ads. Now remember, I tell you when I'm advertising to you, and this, I'm not sneaky about it at all. I'm blatant to the fact that people are like, please, stop giving us ads, but it's so good, magick.me. Go to magick.me, where you can learn meditation, magic, and mysticism. So I did see that somebody said in the chat something like, can meditation more or less make you protect you from this stuff? The answer is yes. In fact, meditation is the technology par excellence for resisting influence, hypnosis, and persuasion. And not just fake-ass meditation like a Deepak Chopra thing, or Nothing Against Deepak, or like some Headspace app or something like that, but actual meditation, as in you actually learn an Eastern meditation technique and then sit down for 30 minutes a day and do it. Which, again, brings us all the way back to the beginning of this stream when we started talking about the spinal column and raising energy through the spine and activating your nervous system. So what is the ultimate thing that we can take away from everything we learned today? It's this. If I'm going to leave you one takeaway, it is control your own nervous system before other people control it for you. Control your own nervous system before other people control it for you. Because as we have just demonstrated, boy, howdy are they working on that. Boy, howdy. There's a whole lot of people with a whole lot more money and reach than you or I, by far, who are doing everything they can with all the technology in the world to control your nervous system. But you know what? It's no match, I can tell you from experience, this shit is no match for somebody who actually knows meditation, let alone magic. One banishing ritual can take so much of this out of your life. We teach you that, and of course we teach you real meditation, not the type of meditation that the guy who sold you ketamine at Coachella does. And yes, meditation, of course, is in training the skill of meta-awareness, or thinking about thinking, when you can abstract yourself from your own thoughts. Not only do you become vastly more intelligent, as the definition of sentience perhaps is meta-thinking, but not only do you become disentangled from your own thoughts, but also you become largely immune to persuasion, as long as you're practicing. All right, everyone, that's our stream for today. I hope that you have enjoyed this one. We are continuing to work on improving the quality. Hopefully the sound is better this time. Do you have things you want me to react to? If you do, post it in the chat, post it in the comments. You can join the Discord and post it on the Discord. I'm also going to put the Discord link in the description as well. But send us stuff that you want us to react to, because basically, you know, I'm just scanning the internet night before and the morning for stuff, and I will continue to do that. But I'm not on the ticking and the talking like the youth are, so I'm often checked out of whatever the mass consciousness is on. So send me stuff you want me to react to, and I will. All right, everyone, join us in the Discord. Make sure to like and subscribe, and consider, and of course, hit the notifications bell so that you can find out when we go live. We're going to experiment with times on this. It looks like most of my audience is actually on later in the day rather than in the morning. So if you have any thoughts on what times are good, you can let us know as well in the comments.